in tutorial 1.6b, what does the CMRR-D, CMRR-R and CMRR-OA refer to?
So basically it shows that actually this problem you can get it, the solution of this problem you can get it from that Palasarani's book. And Webster. That book you can see it. Actually, here the three factors are, the two factors are at least contributing. One is the CMRR generated due to the unbalanced op amps because of the op amp bridge, because of the resistance in not balanced resistance, as well as the CMRR, inherent CMRR of the op amp. So I suggest, so this problem is a little bit tricky. Of course, that is an issue there, but you may look into this problem. Actually, it has been already solved long back, but I think that will give you some, those who could not do it, you can get this idea and try to solve it. This one, Parasalini and Webster, the paper is common mode rejection ratio for cascaded differential amplifier stages. This is IEEE transactions on instrumentation and measurement. And here it is August 1991. And it is volume 40, page 677. You can try opening up this one. This gives you a generalized concept. Apart from that, in the Palasarani and Webster's book, there are two books are there. One is the signal conditioning circuits for there, for sensors. I have already mentioned. And the same authors have also written another book on analog signal processing. These two books, they have given the outline how to solve it. So, but this is what we said is that important is that CMRR is an important case. We will try to understand afterwards, important issue. And we always, while you try to amplify any differential signal, and that's why CMRR of the op amp should be high, so that no, common mode signal gets amplified or gets transmitted into the output. And apart from that, the bridge unbalance or the circuit unbalance may cause also some CMRR in it. So these things you leave it, I think you can try it, and afterwards, if you have not done it so far, you can solve it there. What about tutorial 2 problem? Did you try? Any difficulty did you find out? Yes, Ayush?
Sir, I did not attempt tutorial 2 yet.
Anybody? Arun?
Sir, I think most of the people would not have attempted tutorial 2 yet.
Yet. Acha. But tutorial 1, have you submitted?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then tutorial 2 should be submitted by Monday, before Monday. But let me tell you that some of the tutorial 2 problems are slightly, I thought that at least you should glance through it before you come here, the problems. Some of the problems are typical, and I thought that one or two problems I would try to solve it. So first thing is that, first problem I do tell you, it's an interesting problem. I think I will start with that one. It was the problem tutorial 2, problem 5. It was said that we have a thermocouple and the thermocouple output is, say, E, and it is connected to a compensating circuit okay, and this is your thermocouple. So what it says that consider a first order thermocouple having negligible internal resistance. Show that by using a passive compensating circuit as shown in the figure below, the time constant of the thermocouple can be considerably reduced by proper choice of resistors and capacitors. As I told that the thermocouples time constants are in order of few seconds, sometimes 20 seconds, also 30 seconds also. He says that, or maybe 1 second or like this. So what is the thermocouple transfer function? We know it is, say, suppose ES divided by TS. I can say it is a thermocouple time constant. It's 1 divided by 1 plus S tau. Okay. So if it is 1 divided by 1 plus S tau, it is said that by incorporating this compensating circuit, passive compensating circuit, you can make the thermocouple response faster. Let us see how. First, try to get the transfer function E0 divided by ES. Please calculate and tell me the value. Please calculate and tell me the value. Quickly. Okay. So what is the value here? It is R2 into 1 plus R1 CS divided by R1, sorry, R2 into 1 plus R1 CS plus of R1. Let's check it, whether I have written correctly or not. Is it okay? So if it is so, then we can say it is R2 into 1 plus R1 CS divided by R1 plus R2 plus of R1 R2 into CS. So I can write it down as equal to, okay, R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into 1 plus R1 CS divided by 1 plus R1 R2 divided by R1 R2 into CS. Okay. This is basically nothing but R1 parallel combination of R2. So definitely R1 parallel combination of R2 is basically less than either R1 or R2, or I can say it is R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into, I say it is 1 plus S into tau 1 divided by 1 plus S into tau 2. And obviously tau 2 is less than tau 1. Agree? Okay. Now tell me, what would be the total transfer function E0 divided by Ts? So these two are in cascade. I assume there is no loading because no current flowing is almost 0. So this is equal to K divided by 1 plus S tau into R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into what is it? 1 plus S tau 1 divided by 1 plus S tau 2. Agreed? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, very interesting thing is that if we make, we have just came back from control systems lab, so I think all poles, zeros and etc. you are just remember all the things there. So if we set tau is equal to tau 1, that means this R1, R2 I can select, and basically C I can select, and by choosing the value of R and C and like this, if tau is equal to tau 1, what will happen? There would be basically pole 0 cancellation. So in that case, what it would be, E0 divided by Ts is equal to K into R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into 1 by 1 plus S tau 2. So we know that tau 2 is less than tau 1. So I can say tau 2 is less than tau. That means what is happening? By this, if we can do the perfect pole 0 cancellation, the total system transfer function will be a first order system with time constant less than the earlier. Or in other words, we can say that we can make the thermocouple measurement system much faster by this pole 0 cancellation. And obviously, but there are certain points obviously. So what we can say that the thermocouple can be made faster by incorporating faster with the compensation circuit. So basically we choose R1 and C basically to so that it cancels, it's exactly is equal to the tau, the time constant of the thermocouple. And then you choose R2 such that this R1 and R2 parallel of it, and you can make it the time, set the time constant, which is much less than this one, and we can do it. We can make the system. So if you look at it, it's very interesting that we can solve it, and we can make the system, sluggish system, faster by pole zero cancellations. But there are certain points which we should be concerned about this one. Definitely. Number one is that output voltage is reduced by a factor R2 divided by R1 plus R2. It was early simply there was no factor there. Now this factor R2 divided by R1 plus R2 is causing you the problem. That means the output will be attenuated by the compensating network. Another problem is also there. We must be careful. That's what I mean to say. But it is an interesting way for solving this one. I can say, because thermocouple time constant. How do you measure the time constant? You measure the time constant by carrying out some experiment. Say suppose simply dip it there and note down how the voltage changes, and then see from there approximately you find out the thermocouple time constant. But there may be some error in this thermocouple measurement of the thermocouple time constant. So there may be some uncertainty, what we can say, in this thermocouple, getting the thermocouple time constant. Also, sometimes over recurrent use, the thermocouple time constant may change also. Okay. But, so in that case, if there is not perfect compensation, what is in that coil like this imperfect pole zero cancellation may cause problem. Because in that case, the problem, say A would be 1, 0, 2 poles. If they are not exactly the cancelled out, so naturally those things are problem. We do not know, we cannot say exactly what will happen or like this, but definitely we should, before attempting that one, you must be very careful about this one. We should know the value of tau, the thermocouple constant, carefully and measure it, and we should see, design this one and this one. Yeah. So this is a very important one. Wherever the control systems also, wherever you do the compensation by there, by pole zero cancellation, there is always some risk of imperfect pole zero cancellation, and that may deteriorate the time constant also even there. So, but this I must say that we must be careful. And the second one is that you are getting the attenuated by this signal there. So naturally, what we could do to avoid that one, and also if I often we require that this voltage is small enough, so we need to amplify that one. So what we can do to avoid that one, that we need to amplify it, whereas it is further attenuated. So to have a flexibility of this one, amplifying it to our desired level or like this, we have the second problem, that is problem number 6, is that Compensating network shown above is a passive circuit that causes attenuation of the output voltage. Design an active compensation circuit. So in place of it, if we use some op-amp and make some active compensation circuit, we can make the system faster, as well as we can achieve desired gain. That was their thing there. Design an active compensating circuit that will amplify the thermocouple voltage by 10 times, but simultaneously reduce the effective time constant from 1 second to 0.1 second. That means it is amplify the voltage by a factor of 10, but what we need is that the time constant will, by the same technique, but the time constant should be reduced by a factor of 10 there. So what active circuit we can do? It's quite easy. This is your thermocouple. I leave it to you. So this is a simple A there. I can make an active A there, filter circuit, or like the compensator circuit. So I can choose R1, C1, R2s and C2, by which we can make it faster as well as the amplify the voltage. So design of R1, C1, R2, C2, I leave it to you for further area. Okay?
Sir, how did you decide on this kind of an arrangement?
How do you decide means?
Sir, for example, you kept R1 and C1 in series and in this way.
Definitely I am not, it's not a unique one. I am just proposing one.
Okay.
Definitely you can have any other circuit also. You can do that one also. So you have studied it in networks and etc. I think those things you can. I am just showing you a simple circuit that will achieve that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Any other question? Is it okay? So you will try this one, the second problem also. That is the problem number 6 there. The other problems, actually, as I told, I will be only giving you, because if you solve the problem, tutorial problems, many of the some more details which are not discussed in the class, because then naturally it is not possible to discuss all the issues there. So naturally, some more insight you can get it from that one. Similarly, I will solve the problem number 8. Okay? I will solve the problem number 8 here. This problem looks a little bit awkward and out of place, but this is an important TA, and I request you to go through the books, because it's a very important component of electronic circuits there, and go through the books and read it much detail. Possibly at the end of this semester we'll take it up further, or you, while designing some electronic circuits or design analog circuits, we will have to do that one. That is the noise in electronic circuits are like this. So if we know this noise in electronic circuits, there are many types of noise there. One is called thermal noise. One is called short noise. One is called 1 by f noise, etc., etc. So you will find any electronic circuit, simple resistance, capacitance, op amps, transistors, and etc. There would be a lot of noise voltage generated there. And these are mostly they are random in nature. They are also frequency dependent, all other things there. But while you try to design a circuit and evaluate this one, that is, we often try to evaluate and get it what is the signal to noise ratio. So, as in that similar case, as we already also always try that the CMRR should be high, here also we always look for a circuit where signal to noise ratio is high, otherwise the noise will shadow the signal. You will not be able to distinguish between the signal and and noise there. So this noise analysis is an important component of it, but I am not going into detail of all of them, but I would be only highlighting about the thermal noise. Possibly you may be familiar with it. So the thermal noise, it is basically, it causes in the resistive elements. Suppose there is a resistance here, and due to the temperature and like this, so and also there would be always some random fluctuations of the electrons inside this one. There would be always random fluctuations and travel of electrons there. And as a result, some noise current would be generated, or equivalently, we just express it in terms of ET is equal to thermal noise. This is the thermal noise there. So it says that even if you put a resistor in your drawer, there would be always some thermal noise generated in it. That means if we always try to measure the resistance value or like this voltage across it without passing any current out to there, you will find some voltage. But this will be some random voltage. It's a random noise. That means it is randomly fluctuating. We may find that ET is something like this. There is no parity, nothing there, not here, there. It is some sort of random noise there. Sometimes we call it zero mean random noise, average value is there. So this we try to, while we try to express it or quantify it, we always try to put it as a random noise, random number in terms of the RMS value. We always expressed ET in terms of expressed in RMS quantities there. Okay. If we express in RMS quantity, that means, okay, that this is that one, and we have an expression that this RMS value ET is given as is equal to square root of 4 K into T into B into R, where K is called Boltzmann's constant, R is the resistance, T is the temperature in Kelvin, and B is the bandwidth. That means in which range of frequency we wanted to we want to give attention, that is the bandwidth. So for this one, it was given that the thermal noise generated by a resistance is a random number, and its RMS value of the noise voltage is given by Et is equal to this one, where all the things there. Find the total value of the noise voltage generated when two 1 kilo ohm resistors each at 30 degrees Celsius. So basically T is equal to 303 Kelvin. And the bandwidth is 1 hertz. And what we want is that suppose we connect it in series another similar resistance, which is also R. Say I call it, okay, R1 and, okay, R itself I put it. And this is also, naturally if they are identical, 1 kilo ohm, and this is also 1 kilo ohm. So what is our equivalent model of the resistance? So we can say that equivalent resistance is 2R, but what would be the noise voltage? ET equivalent. What would be the noise voltage? Would it be connected in series? They are connected in series. Should they be added? Should they be added? Mind it, they are all random numbers and they are independent. They are all random numbers and they are all independent like this. So the noise RMS voltage at any time or like this there is independent of this one. And so naturally from our uncertainty analysis and all the things there, what we wanted to say that the ET equivalent, that we can get some number or like this there, but it will not be additive. This will be but the square root of ET1 square, I call it ET1, ET2, I call it in general, plus of ET2 square. Because what we normally try to say, it is in the ET1 square corresponds to your power. So the power, noise power gets added up. It is the noise power gets added up, and then square rooting it, we can express it an equivalent noise voltage. So naturally what we will get, ET value, we have got it. I think you can check the what is the A there. Where is it? Yeah. You can check it. It is basically 4.089 nanovolt. Very small voltage, but when you are doing, while we are going for a very small voltage detection, nanovolt or like this, then it would be a problem. And if we do it, it is basically ET square, ET into root of 2. So it comes to be is equal to 57.828 nanovolt. So just a simple case of this one, two series resistances And what would be the noise, estimation of the noise voltage? We can do it. I leave it to you to work it out. If these two resistors are parallel, then what will be the area? So these are the just I wanted to show you that is the random numbers and this one, if they are independent sources of noise or like this, we also we also take the same approach. We had done it for determining uncertainty for the random area, where the uncertainties and effect of uncertainty we had tried to do. Yes, any question?
Sir, here can we think of calculating the equivalent ET as like thinking of the energy dissipated or something like that?
Yeah, that's right. But the details I am not going into it, but any electronics book we will get it. And if I get time, I will try to solve, go for more details to it. But
No, sir.
basically,
Sir,
this energy, these noises are add up to the power of this noise there. Yes.
yes, since you said that we should try in the parallel one also, I asked
Ah,
for some approach. Yeah.
you try it. Basically, the noise would be overall noise would be added up definitely. Total noise. Okay. I will try to do. I also do not know. But this is an important thing. If we have a big circuit, so for the noise analysis, if we try to see the equivalent circuit, say simply a differential amplifier, all that is, if we try to find out what is the noise analysis, all the resistances should be connected with a noise source. All the op amps also should have to add the noise sources there. And finally, we'll have to find out what is the amount of noise voltage. Approximately we are getting it, estimate it. And compared to our signal, what would be compared to our signal, what would be our signal to noise ratio. Then only we can say, yeah, this noise will not have much problem, but definitely you must have some experience in oscilloscopes and etc. there, that you are getting simply noise, very random values and like this here. So any of the cases, and particularly if the gain or the sensitivity increases, it is there. So you need to estimate what will be the noise, particularly if we need a very high degree of amplifications. So it is not only this thermal noise, but other noise also, that the short noise, 1 by F noise, and etc. What is the time? Just a minute. So lastly, I will solve another problem. So that's why I tell you that try to solve these problems, then only we will get some idea. And many of the fundamental concepts will become more clearer, more clear. So now I will not tell you initially, that is the tutorial problem 2. Did you anyone try of it? A balloon carrying a first order thermometer with 15-second time constant rises through the atmosphere at 6 meters per second. Assume the temperature varies with altitude at 0.15 degrees Celsius per 30 meter. The balloon reduces the temperature and altitude readings back to the ground. At 3000 meter, the balloon says that the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius. And what is the true altitude at which the 0 degree Celsius occurs. Did anyone of you try? And how to solve it? Any idea? So we say that this is a balloon, so what we have, the time constant is equal to 15 seconds, and it is rising up, and basically it is a weather balloon. On the top, what is the value of temperature it detects? So it has got two instruments on it. One is the height measuring instrument, another is the temperature measuring instrument. And we have the rise, A is that rising at 6 meter per second. Okay? And temperature varies at 0.15 degrees Celsius per 30 meter. Okay. And we have got certain temperature measuring instrument by which we measure the temperature. Now telling it that if it is a system, that is a balloon and thermometer, output must be some sort of indication. So what is the input? What will be our input? Can you tell me?
Height.
Yes? Tell me.
So height.
Huh? Height.
Height.
Height. But
The
how the
rate of
height
change of
changes
height.
with time?
Yes, the rate of change of height.
How the height changes with time?
60.
Huh? 60. That means it is changing with height. I mean, with time, and this is your input. Okay? So what type of input is it? What we will call?
Ramp.
Amp input. Okay? Now we come back to this one. So what is the A xit is equal to m into t. So xis is equal to m divided by s squared there. What is m here? So here slope m, and basically this is equal to slope of m. Okay? So this is a very important issue, is that what is the input is a ramp input there. Okay? And we know that the
Balloon is first order system.
pardon?
Balloon is first order system.
Huh? 6?
No, sir, I was saying that temperature in the balloon is the first order system.
That's right. So what we can say is that the system x0 divided by xis is equal to k into divided by 1 plus tau into c. Yes, it's a first order system there. Okay. And the input is m into t, and we know that if x0 xi is equal to m into t, your x0t, it is k into m into 1 minus, sorry, not 1, t minus tau plus of e to the power minus t by tau. I think I am not deriving this one, you know these results. So this is the thing there. So it will also, the So basically, the temperature we can express it there, that will be also increase, rather it is decreasing factors. I am just put it here there, and this is your here there. Okay. So here it is empty. Okay. And if I say that what it was 30, sorry, 0.15 degrees Celsius decreasing per 30 meter, and m is equal to uh, m is equal to 6 meter per second, and tau is equal to 15 seconds. Okay. So the point I can say it, the equivalent age if I say that, okay, we know it is decreasing at 0.5 degrees Celsius 15 per 30 meter. So by measuring the temperature, we can say, we can get back to the height also, because to make it in the same scale, I make it h is the actual height, and I measure the temperature, and that temperature I convert it into this I mean, what we can say, it is the height travel. I can put it in the equivalent temperature there. So in that case, whatever may be, what I can say is that this will be our A, because there is some instantaneous, I mean, there would be a there, but after that, it will put it like this. And there would be always what we call it a steady state error. That is ESS. What is the steady state error? Is equal to m into tau. Because I have already equivalent height, I have gone through it. So it is m into tau. What is m into tau? It is equal to 15 seconds tau into, it is 6 meter per minute. It is equal to 90 meter. So there is if I measure the temperature, and from there itself I know that it is decreasing by this one, there is always a 90 meter gap between this one in the steady state. I am assuming it has reached the steady state. Now the question is that a balloon radios temperature and altitude reading back to the ground at 3000 meter, the balloon says the temperature is 0 degree Celsius. That means basically the balloon says that it is already lagging behind. So possibly the temperature there has already crossed 0 degree Celsius, but the time constant, due to the time constant of the signal, it is now saying it is it is 0 degree Celsius. Now the question is that what is the true altitude at which 0 degree Celsius occurs? That means what is the true altitude at which the 0 degree Celsius occurs there? That means there is a 3000 meter, it was actual 3000 meter, it is showing the at 0 degree Celsius. Actually, you can easily understand the actual height of the balloon at that point is 90 plus 3000, that is 3090 there. So naturally, what we can say is that when 3000 meter occurs, there would be always actual height is less than, I mean, when balloons, what is the true altitude at which 0 degree Celsius occurs? So that means the 0 degree Celsius has occurred long back. What is the back? when it was 90 meter below. So the altitude at which 0 degree Celsius occurs is equal to 3000 minus 90 is equal to 2910 meter. So this is another applications of this dynamic characteristics of our instrument, and we must be careful. It is a very classic problem. It is already often referred as this one. So please think of, try to go through the one, but unless you solve the problems, you will not be able to get the feel. We would be discussing those things afterwards, and we'll have more problems would be given. I will not always solve all the problems or like this there. So please try to solve them and appreciate. So many of the things we may require some more study which is not covered in the books there. So I stop it here. Any question or any other further queries or any suggestions? Is it okay?
Yes, sir, it's okay.
Okay. Okay, then we plan, but please submit all the tutorial 2 problems by Monday and try to solve it yourself. That will give you some confidence and understanding will become better. Okay? Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.